You know, sometimes the biggest lessons in life, they don't come from some textbook or a huge dramatic event. Nope. They come from a single, totally unexpected moment with a perfect stranger. Today, we're going to dive into a simple story that reveals a really powerful truth about human connection and what it actually means to be there for each other.
This quote, it just gets right to the heart of what we're talking about, doesn't it? It's such a powerful reminder that even when the world feels, a little disconnected, real, genuine humanity is always just around the corner. And that one idea, it really sets the stage for everything we're about to explore.
And that really is the question, isn't it? What is it that turns a quick, everyday interaction into a memory that just sticks with you for years and years? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go back to the very beginning of the story.
Okay, so our story kicks off with the feeling I think we all know pretty well, being a stranger in a brand new city. That feeling of being just a little lost, a little out of your element, just trying to find your way around a place you don't know.
So let's paint the picture. The person in our story isn't in Chandigarh for a fun vacation. They're actually there for a pretty stressful reason. Their mother has regular medical checkups. On top of that, they're staying at a friend's place in a city they've never been to before. You can just feel that sense of vulnerability already starting to build up.
So with all that going on in the background, the goal for the morning was something incredibly simple, totally mundane, an everyday task we've all done a million times. Just go find a market and buy some vegetables for dinner. A simple mission that sends our narrator out onto these unfamiliar streets. But that so-called simple task, it quickly turned into this long, frustrating search. We're talking 3 to 4 kilometers on foot. That's like a solid hour of just walking and coming up with absolutely nothing. You can imagine that feeling of frustration just growing, and that feeling of being completely lost. It's a really key part of the setup for what happens next.
And this is where the whole story pivots. After that long, tiring walk, right at the point where you'd probably just give up, an unexpected encounter completely changes the entire day. So the narrator does exactly what any of us would do, right? They spot a local, in this case an elderly Sikh gentleman, and just ask for directions. A simple, straightforward question, nothing more.
Okay, now check out how this all unfolds. First, the gentleman kindly lets them know that, bad news, the market's closed. So, disappointed, the narrator turns around to head back. But then, they notice the man seems to be following them. You can imagine that split second of confusion, maybe even a little worry like, uh-oh, what's happening here, before it all resolves into something completely and utterly unexpected.
And boom! This is the heart of the story. This is the moment. The man doesn't just give information, he offers a real solution. He says, I have enough at my home. Come with me, take what you need. He offers a piece of his own home to a complete stranger. It's just pure, unprompted generosity. So that's what happened. But the really big question, the important question, is why? Why was this small moment so incredibly impactful? It was way more than just a nice gesture. It was a really profound human experience. So let's break down what made it so special. This idea of unsolicited generosity is absolutely key here. Remember, the narrator only asked for directions. They didn't ask for food, they didn't ask for help, the offer came completely out of the blue. And that kind of kindness, it just hits differently, It's not a transaction, it's not an exchange, it's purely about one human connecting with another.
This chart just lays it out so perfectly, doesn't it? The expectation was a quick, simple direction, a brief interaction, probably from a stranger who couldn't care less. But the reality? It was an offer of actual food, a memorable connection, and this burst of generosity that just completely shattered all those expectations.
So when you boil it all down, these are the ingredients that made this moment so powerful. First, the act was completely unsolicited, totally unexpected. Second, it was entirely selfless. Third, it came from a complete stranger. And let's not forget, this was an elderly man who physically went out of his way to make this happen.
And really, this is the main takeaway. This is the whole point. Look, the narrator could have bought vegetables somewhere else later. It was never really about the vegetables, was it? Of course not. It was about the gesture. It was about a stranger seeing another person in a moment of need and choosing to connect, choosing to help, choosing to show that they cared.
And that brings us to our final and I think most important thought. This story is just a beautiful reminder that every single one of us has the power to create these kinds of moments for other people. It doesn't take some huge, grand gesture. It doesn't take a lot of money. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What small, unsolicited act of kindness can you offer someone today?